Let's take a look at some of the great new manga that are coming out in March of 2024. This is the first video that I'm making on this channel since the announcement of Akira Toriyama's passing. I feel like I have to say something here. Even though if you've been following me on my other platforms, you know that I've made plenty of statements over on TikTok. I made a couple videos. I posted a lot on Twitter. I posted a couple times on Instagram even. About Toriyama, his, thanking him for his work that he's done, about how he's inspired me and everything that he was responsible for in making me who I am. But I want to say something here as well, since this is my primary channel, and I think I'm done with mourning. I mourned for a couple of days, and beyond that, I'm at the stage, and I think a lot of people are, where it's about celebration and celebrating what Toriyama really brought to us and the things that we have him to thank for that have permeated into our lives and into our cultures. And it's going to be different for a lot of people. Maybe you're not even a fan of him or his works directly, but you've been a fan of works that are directly inspired by him. Or maybe you don't care for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, but you're a huge fan of one of the games that he worked on, like Chrono Trigger, Blue Dragon, or probably the Dragon Quest franchise. But so much of us have something to thank him for bringing to our lives. And for me, Dragon Ball Z was one of the earliest anime that I ever got into, like many people. It was that, Pokemon, and Sailor Moon. And they really drove me into being the fan of anime and manga that I am today. But it's not just that. I have Toriyama to thank so much for making me who I am. I, for better or for worse, would not be the same man that I am today if it were not for Dragon Ball. It sounds silly to say it out loud, and like a lot of it is surface level stuff. Like, I wouldn't be, I probably wouldn't be the omnibus collector. I probably wouldn't have 10,000 volumes of manga. I probably wouldn't have collected every single volume of Shonen Jump manga. But because I had that legendary series to push me into becoming a fan of manga and anime, it really pushed me to become who I am. And I'm happy about that. I'm so happy that I was able to have that as a huge part of my life. And I'm so happy that I am one of millions of people in this world inspired by Toriyama and his works. And yes, I'm sad about the passing. I'm sad because it is someone who is such an integral part of my childhood and my adulthood as well, who is gone from this earth. I'm sad because I never got to say thank you in person. I'm sad because there's not going to be any more content coming from him, but I'm happy that we had it all. And I'm happy that I can sit back and look at everything that he gave the world. So thank you for everything, Toriyama-Sensei. I have a couple of videos that I will be making in the future, at some point, hopefully in the near future, to celebrate his life and to thank him for everything that he brought to me. And I'll talk about those later in the video, but let's get into the manga buyer's guide. First, the usual notes. Number one, the release dates I have are from Amazon. So some things get delayed, some things come out early. It's just how things go. Second, I'm not covering every single book that's coming out. I'm focusing primarily on new first volumes or single volume releases. I will mention some final volumes, and not in this one, but sometimes I'll mention like box sets and special editions when they come out. But that's because I'm not trying to make a list of every single release that's coming out. I'm not focusing on the things that I'm most excited about. The purpose of these videos is to focus on newly debuting titles so that I can help readers find their next new favorite thing, because there's so many new things that come out every single month that it's very easy for you to miss something that you might otherwise love. And my hope is that making these videos can help you to find something you might have missed out on. The final note is, if you have a Twitter and you don't mind, it'd be great if you would follow me at OmniCollector. And if you buy anything because I talked about it here, I would really greatly appreciate it if when you get that book, you would take a picture of it, put it on Twitter, tag me and tag the publisher, and let them know that you picked it up because I talked about it and you were, inspired to do so. I love it. When I see people do that, it really does go a long way to help me in, making relations with these publishers. So I really appreciate it when y'all do that. Anyway, let's get into it and talk about stuff from March the 5th. There's some really great releases. I actually got 3 of these books from the 5th just came in right before I sat down to film this video. So first up we have Ado. I believe it is pronounced Ado, not Otto, because of the name of the character. This takes place in a Japan that has become a melding pot of people and cultures after a wave of immigration which has brought protests of xenophobic extremists. Riku is driving her scooter through a protest when she sees a boy about to be run over by a truck. She shoves him out of the way and begins to look after the boy named Ato. She takes Ato out for ramen, and when he begins to be fired upon by a distant army sniper, causing plant-like tendrils to come from his arm and stop the bullet midair. Who is Ato, and why is the army after him? Now, they say that this one is for fans of Akira, which I think is really obvious from like the cover image, kind of make those connections. But there was also a note that said this is for fans of Sakamoto Days. So I'm wondering, I haven't read, I said this literally just came in a minute ago. I haven't read it yet, but I'm wondering if that's because of fight choreography or if it's because of the sense of humor that it might have. But the side note that I have is there's a lot of manga coming out that have like plant stuff, like plant monsters or plant humans, plant-human hybrids. Like this is one of like maybe 5 that I know of that are currently ongoing, and I don't know if there's any sort of like cultural significance to that, if there's something right now that's happening that's inspired a lot of people, or something recently that inspired a lot of people in Japan to make series like this. I don't know. It's an interesting coincidence that I'm pointing out right now. Anyway, moving on is Medalist, also from Kodansha. Again, one that just came in, so I haven't read it, but I'm extremely excited to read this one. This is a sports series about Inori, who dreams of becoming a figure skater. However, she's already too old at 11, has trouble at school, and her sister's skating dreams ended in failure, so her mother is against putting her through a similar experience. But Inori loves being in the rink and winds up fatefully meeting Tsukasa, a coach about to give up on competitive skating himself. And the two join together to become an unstoppable duo who believe they can prove everyone wrong. That sounds like the perfect beginning for a great sports manga, so I'm very excited to read this one. And I know a lot of people were very, very excited when it first got announced, because this was a series a lot of people wanted to see get printed in English. So very, very, very happy to have this one on my to read pile right now. Next up is Anyway, I'm Falling in Love with You, also from Kodansha. It's a high school romance series set during the beginning of the pandemic, following Mizuha, whose longtime childhood friend has just asked her out. Can their budding romance be resilient enough to withstand a world where everything is shutting down around them? And then from Tokyo Pop, we have Cover My Scars with Your Kiss. This is a BL about corporate heir Seiichi, who meets the insecure dentist Now a couple of times coincidentally, which makes him believe fate is at play. Now lets him know that Seiichi reminds him of a man he's been in love with, and Seiichi proposes that while he's receiving dental treatment by Now, that they will date. And then we end the first week with a few finales. First up is Polar Bear Cafe Volume 4, which I think got pushed back to the second week, but I'll talk about it here anyway. This is the 4th and final volume of this slice of life comedy series about a polar bear who runs a cafe and all the various animals who visit it. The Japanese edition is 5 volumes, the English edition was 4 volumes. Then we have Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible Volume 12, another one that I just got today. This is a high school rom-com about a guy who is barely noticed by anyone and the girl who won't let him stay unnoticed. And then finally, the Shoujo Beat series Imakoi comes to an end with Volume 9. This is a high school rom-com about a girl who doesn't want to miss out on love again, so she blurts out a confession to her crush, the impossibly handsome Yagyu, who surprisingly agrees to date her. So that wraps up the 5th. Let's move on to the 12th, where we start off with a 1, 2, 3 punch of One Piece books. The first one is Volume 105 of One Piece, which I'm not really covering it in this, but I did want to mention that there was 3 One Piece books at once. It is somewhat significant because it is the finale. It's the final volume of Wano. It's the end of having Wano on the cover, at least. The next one has Egghead on the cover. Not like on the title, you know what I mean. But the two that are significant, 2 volume ones for One Piece, one of them is a single volume, and that is One Piece Shokugeki no Sanji. This is a single volume collection of all of those Shokugeki no Sanji one-shots and stories that were done by the creators of Food Wars. So it's Sanji cooking in the style of the Food Wars manga. If you're a fan of either One Piece, especially a fan of Sanji, or if you're a fan of Food Wars, this is going to be a great one to pick up. It's only a single volume. These stories are a lot of fun. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of either One Piece or Food Wars. And then the other One Piece that's got a new volume 1 is One Piece Ace's story. This is the first of 2 volumes adapting the novel of the same name, and it has artwork from Dr. Stone's Boichi. So if you are a fan of that light novel and you would love to see it in manga format, here you go. If you're a fan of Boichi and you want to see what he can bring to One Piece, there you go. Or if you are a big One Piece fan but you're not really a light novel reader and you want to read a manga edition of that instead, this is going to be perfect for you. But either way, it's only 2 volumes, not a lot of commitment. This is really cool. I'm really excited they have this manga coming out, and I'm really excited to read it. Then we have Osamu Dazai's The Setting Sun from Tuttle. Now this is another manga adaptation of a classic Dazai novel. Dazai, of course, being the novelist of No Longer Human. It's probably his most popular work, but this is another one of his classic masterpieces. Set in the aftermath of World War II, we follow Kazuko, a woman from an aristocratic family who is struggling along with her family to survive and adapt to their harsh new conditions. Then from Square Enix, and they actually sent me a copy of this one early, we have The Villainess's Guide to Not Falling in Love. So this is about Luciana, who was an ordinary woman, and she's reborn as a villainess in an otome game. She knows all the plot twists and is ready to rewrite her destiny by not falling for any of her suitors. However, none of the men can take a hint. So they're all still trying to go after her, even though she's pushing them away. And also she has unparalleled magical abilities. Now, ultimate games and villainous stuff is not typically my thing, so this was not really for me. But I think that if you are into this stuff, this one's going to be really interesting and cute, and it also has great artwork in my opinion. So if you are a villainous fan, if you are an otome fan, definitely try out this one from Square Enix that comes out this month. Then we have Tengen Hero Wars from Titan Manga. This is going to be for the fans of Record of Ragnarok. It basically sounds like Record of Ragnarok. There's something brings together historical figures like Julius Caesar, Napoleon, and many others to fight against each other to see who would be crowned as the greatest. It's literally the idea of Record of Ragnarok. I haven't read it, but so I don't know how similar it is in concept and in narrative, but I know that it is very bloody and action-packed. And I do have a copy on the way, so I'm excited to check it out when it does arrive. Next up is Candy Color Paradox Assorted Pack from Sublime. This collects Candy Color Paradox side and bonus stories plus a 16-page color gallery. So if you were a fan of the original Candy Color Paradox series, you can pick this one up as kind of a bonus volume. And then another BL from Kodansha, this time Number Call. This is from the creator of My Summer of You. It's about 2 high schoolers, Eito and Hachi. Hachi is the Japanese word for 8. So the number 8 plays a significance here, but the number 8 isn't the only thing that draws the two together. And then we have another final volume coming out from Shoujo Beat this week, Yakuza Lover Volume 12. This is a mature romance about a college girl who falls for a Yakuza boss. And then finally this week is Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix, Crushing Love from Tokyo Pop, which was delayed from last month. This is a prequel BL single volume manga graphic novel. It's a prequel to the Netflix series Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. So if you watched that and enjoyed it, and you want to know a little bit more about how 2 characters wind up together, you have this single volume graphic novel to check out. Moving on to the 3rd week on the 19th, but first we're going to do a message from the sponsor of this video, Walt's Comic Shop. Once again, thank you so much to Walt's Comic Shop for sponsoring this channel. As always, I mention that I like to buy my books from places like InStockTrades.com and the Crunchyroll store, maybe even Amazon. We have so many options for us here in the US, but people in the EU might not have as many options. And Walt's Comic Shop is actually a fantastic one that you can start shopping from. Walt is located physically in Berlin, Germany, but they do ship all over the EU. So if you're located anywhere in the EU, not just in Germany, you can order from Walt. But if you happen to be in Berlin, you can stick your head into their brick and mortar shop and say hello, tell them the Omnibus Collector sent you. And they have not just a great collection of manga, but a fantastic selection of comics, graphic novels, omnibus editions from Marvel, DC, and all the other publishers. So if you want to try something out from the other side of the fence, from the Western comics instead of just manga, manhwa, etc., you can do that as well. And if you are a first-time shopper with Walt's Comic Shop, you can use code TheOmnibusCollector to get free shipping within the EU on your first order of 40 euro or more. So make sure to check out Walt's Comic Shop if you're out in the EU. Use that code to get your free shipping on your first order of 40 euro or more, The Omnibus Collector. And again, thank you to Walt's Comic Shop for your continued support of the Omnibus Collector channel here. So moving into the third week, we start out with the Uncanny Counter from Eyes Press. This one, the description, the copy that they wrote for this one was so good that instead of just coming up with my own description, I'm just gonna take theirs. The word in town is that the broth at the local noodle house is to die for. The secret? The people who run the shop were on the brink of death. They call themselves counters and have partnered with ghosts from the afterlife to hunt down rogue spirits. When ordinary high schooler Mun is invited to join them, his whole life flips upside down. Can his new job of fighting evil and chopping noodles give him the answer to his parents' mysterious deaths all those years ago? This one sounds really interesting. I'm excited to check it out. Next up from, I believe, Yen Press and J Novel Club in conjunction is Black Summoner, based on the light novel of the same name. Kelvin traded his memories of his previous life for a collection of powerful new abilities, which make him the world's strongest summoner. His first follower, the goddess who brought him to this new world. And he soon discovers his true nature as a battle junkie. Another one from Yen Press is I Want a Gal Gamer to Praise Me. High school shut-in Raito Sasaki hires a pro gamer to coach him so he can hone his FPS skills, but he never imagined Rion Suzuki would be the one knocking at his door. Rion is cute and fashionable, and with such a supportive and charming gal gamer cheering him on, Raito will either take his game to the next level, or the pressure of being so close to Rion might throw him off. Then we have more from Yen Press, of course, Adults Picture Book, the new edition. Suddenly, Soichiro has a 4-year-old daughter named Kiki thanks to his late friend Haruki, and his life has changed forever. Things get even more complicated when he proposes to a complete stranger. And then one more from Yen Press. Actually, there's a couple more from Yen Press on the second week. I have these out of order, sorry. I usually put them in order of publisher, but I got lazy there. The tiger won't eat the dragon yet. Tiger is lucky enough to capture a dragon whose meat is meant to taste exquisite, whose blood can heal any wound, and whose heart can grant immortality. However, she decides not to eat him yet as he's still a child. He's too young to make a good meal now, so she decides to raise him herself. However, she finds there's more to him than meets the eye. Then we have Sword Art Online Progressive Canon of the Golden Rule. This one has Asuna and Kirito making it to Aincrad's 6th floor to the town of Station, which is filled with puzzles. That was the end of the Yen Press stuff. Let's look at some Kodansha books. I Can't Say No to the Lonely Girl. This is a high school GL manga about the goody-goody Sakurai who meets a lonely girl and ends up in a web of blackmail that might lead to romance. And now one of my most anticipated releases for the this week and of this entire month is the Initial D Omnibus. The long-awaited reprint of the classic racing series is finally here, and not just is this a reprint, but it'll be the first time the series is completed in English, as it ended prematurely back when it was being published by Tokyopop. Takumi's job as a tofu delivery driver has him racing up and down the twists and turns of Mount Akina's roads. Without realizing it, Takumi has mastered techniques that would take most drivers lifetimes to learn. Witness Takumi Fujiwara's journey from delivery boy to street racing legend in this new 2-in-1 editions of the classic series. There will be 24 volumes in total, and this has 2 variants, one from Kinokuniya and the other you can get from the Crunchyroll store. Crunchyroll store actually has the standard and their variant available early, so if you wanted to order an early copy, there you go. I'll probably make a video about this book on its own, just showing off. I'm going to get all 3 variants, and I want to talk about it because I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Now moving over to, we got a few things from Tokyo Pop as well. My Love Will Last Until the End of Time. This is a single volume BL about Hiroto, who remembers his past life as the Prince Luke, and Ko, who is unknowingly the reincarnation of Luke's beloved Mika, and a chance encounter on a college campus which brought them together. Then we have Rooming with My Two Lovers, which is an 18+ BL about Atsushi, who winds up in a new living space along with his ex Enraku and the flirty barber Shiki. The two take turns seducing him, and eventually Atsushi develops deep feelings for them both. And then we have Heat X Beat. I may be an Omega, but I'm going to be an idol. This is a single volume Omegaverse BL about Asahi, who is chosen as the latest member of the boy band B-Marks. The only problem is that he's an Omega and member Madoka is an Alpha. Next, we've got another one coming from 7 Seas, How Do I Turn My Best Friend Into My Girlfriend? This one is a GL about Minami and Yuzu, who are childhood best friends, but after someone confesses their feelings to Yuzu, Minami realizes she might like her more than just friends. Will she be able to confess her own feelings to Yuzu, or is she happy just being by her side? And then we also have another single volume release from Tuttle, A Small Change, Finding the Joy in Everyday Things. Tying up her hair was a small change, but it begins a journey of discovering many more tiny but important changes that wind up having a deep impact on her life. This book is about the Korean concept of sohak hang, which states that the small pleasures like a movie night with friends, painting your nails, or new hairstyles are simple but reliable means of finding true joy. Hey there, editor version of me here now. I realized while editing that I had actually neglected to mention one of the books coming out in the 3rd week from Viz Media as part of their signature line. I'm sorry I didn't do it, I just accidentally skipped over it, but it's something I'm really looking forward to, and that is Magie Lumiere Magical Girls Incorporated. The synopsis here is basically the main character is a girl who has been applying to work at many of these magical girl companies, these corporations, and for all intents and purposes, she qualifies for the job just fine, but for some reason, she just keeps not landing any jobs. She doesn't get any callbacks. She gets declined. And one day she goes into an interview and some sort of monster, something attacks, and she winds up having a magical girl called to save them from this attack. But she winds up helping the magical girl that is defending them during the interview, and because of her actions during this time, they wind up hiring her to start work over at Magie Lumiere Magical Girls, Inc. So that's the series. I forgot to mention it here, but it is something that I'm looking forward to checking out. Really, really highly looking forward to it when it comes out later this month. And we have a couple things that are ending this week. A really big one from the Viz signature line, Alice in Borderland Volume 9 is the final 2-in-1 release of that thrilling death game series that inspired the Netflix drama. I'm very excited to wrap this one up this month. Then we have Val Love, or Val X Love from Young Press. This is the finale of the fantasy harem where a young man alongside 9 Valkyries must prove that love will save the world. And then we have Love and Heart Volume 10, also from Young Press. It's a romantic thriller about a young woman returning home after a breakup and her new male roommate, who claims to be an old childhood friend who had moved abroad. He's great, but the timing seems a little too perfect. And supposedly the house next door where he claims to have lived was where a whole family had committed suicide. So something's going on with that one. So that was Val Love 16 and Love and Heart Volume 10 if you want to get into either of those titles. And that brings us to our final week of new releases, starting off with one that a lot of people are anticipating. Oh my goddess, Omnibus Volume 7. This is not a first or last volume, but because it has been so long, the 6th omnibus was released back in October of 2017. So it's been a very long time since this line has been going. I wanted to bring it up because not only is Volume 7 coming out this month, but also the previous 6 omnibus were somewhat recently reprinted. So if you've been wanting to get into Oh My Goddess, if you've been wanting to read this series, this is the perfect time to get into it. All in all, it was 48 volumes, so there will be 16 of these 3-in-1 volumes. The series itself is about a college student, it's a harem rom-com, this college student who accidentally calls the goddess helpline, which summons Belldandy, who tells him that he has a single wish. And he believes that this is a prank and says he wishes that she will be with him forever, and his wish winds up being granted. Moving on, another one from Titan Manga is Grace Rosa. It's about the assassin Grace Rosa, who's driven by her longing to discover the secret of her adoptive father's disappearance. He trained her to be a killing machine and to wield any and every weapon before inducting her into the organization Alterna. But could Alterna have something to do with his disappearance? And to what length will she go for vengeance? Then from Viz Media, we have Stitches, which is the first Junji Ito release of the year. But this one's a little bit different because it's not really a manga, it's a novel, and I don't usually cover novels, but there's a reason why I'm covering this. Anyway, so description: horror novel by Hirokatsu Kihara with artwork by Junji Ito. The novel is made up of several true stories of unsolved mysteries, which include pages of Ito artwork as well as a single chapter manga story by Ito himself. So it is a novel, but it does have Ito artwork, it does have a single manga chapter within, so I wanted to make sure that I highlighted it here, but not just to say like, hey, it's coming out, but to say, hey, don't buy this expecting a whole volume of Junji Ito manga. It's not. It is a novel with some pictures and one chapter of manga. But this is the next Junji Ito book. If you are a Junji Ito completist, this is the next one you're going to be picking up. Then from Seven Seas in their steamship line is Before You Discard Me, I Shall Have My Way With You. Agnes, the daughter of a duke, is hit with a bombshell when she learns the man she's been betrothed to since childhood doesn't return her feelings and wants to break their engagement so he can marry his true love, a different noblewoman. Agnes is heartbroken and angry, so this means war in both politics and in bed. Then for Kodansha, we have a very hilarious sounding book. I got reincarnated in a BL world of big man boobs. Now the title has BL and man in parentheses because the main character is Nagare, who is a breast-loving young man, and he gets his wish when he's reincarnated into a world of boobs. So what he's wanting is to be reincarnated into a world of big boobs. But it's not quite what he bargained for when he finds out that it's actually a BL world of man boobs. It's a satirical BL comedy that takes jabs at all kinds of manga cliches. It looks hilarious. I'm going to look forward to picking up this comedy series when it comes out later this month. Then we have The Alchemist Who Survived Now Dreams of a Quiet City Life from Yen Press. This is about Mariella, who is the last surviving alchemist, who, after waking from a 200-year sleep, could be making a killing, brewing and selling potions, but all she wants to do is relax and live her life at her own pace. Then from Denpa, we have Girl with Sanpaku Eyes Volume 5. This is a final volume to this full-color rom-com series. And then we have two delayed books, All You Want Whenever You Want and Healer for the Shadow Hero. Both were supposed to come out last month, got delayed to this month. And that brings a wrap to March. That's all the stuff from a lot of cool stuff coming out in March. I'm really excited about a lot of these new series and a lot of the ones that are ending this month. March is a great month of new manga. I'm, obviously I picked up Otto and Medalist, and I've got a lot of stuff that I've already picked up aside from those, and a lot of things that I'm planning on buying when they come out. This is a great month for new manga, and I'm looking forward to trying out so many of these series. Let me know in the comments down below, though, what you are most looking forward to. Which of these books are you picking up? What are you excited to pick up? And what are you picking up that I didn't talk about in this video? What, volumes of ongoing titles are you excited about? And if I missed any last volumes, let me know. If you know of any final volumes that I didn't touch on, tell me in the comments down below. I want to know y'all's opinions. I'm always interested in hearing y'all's opinions about stuff. So yeah, that's the video. I hope that if you are new here, if this is your first time watching one of these videos, is entertaining and informative, and that I could help you to find a new manga that could become one of your new favorites. If you're not new here, thank you so much for spending time with me once again. I really appreciate all of you every single time that you come in here. You know how much I love and appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And regardless of whether you are new or old here, I'll see you on the next one. But I almost forgot, I was going to mention the two videos that I will be doing in the future to celebrate the life of the late Akira Toriyama. I have two ideas that have been in my head for a long time. I've already compiled some notes on either of them, and I will try and get one of these out by the end of the month. The other one, I don't know how long it's going to take me, but there are two things that I want to do. So the first idea is a creator profile video where I will be covering the entirety of Akira Toriyama's career in manga, in anime, and in video games, all of his stuff that he's done throughout his life. I want to make one of those videos to cover all of this. That is something that I've been planning for a very long time, and I've already got notes about everything that has not been published in English, which I posted about on Twitter, by the way. So if you want a kind of a preview of that stuff, you can check out that thread over there. But I want to celebrate his career by taking a look back at everything that he did. The other one is kind of indirectly Toriyama, but I've been wanting to do a video, and I have a lot of notes that I've had on my computer for a couple years already. I've been wanting to make a video about all of the other Dragon Ball manga, because it's not, you know, we have Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, and a couple little things, but there's so much more out there. All of those little Dragon Ball manga that are based on the video game series and stuff, the ones that are based on like Dragon Ball Superhero, Dragon Ball whatever, like there's a lot of stuff out there that we don't have in the US, and a lot of things that were not by Toriyama himself that kind of are not really expanding on Dragon Ball because they're not in the same canon, but they are where you get a lot of those cool, you know, ideas like alternate forms, different Saiyans, different characters that don't exist in the main canon, forms of certain characters that they get that they don't have in the main series. A lot of really cool stuff, and I want to dive into those and kind of take a look at all of that stuff. So I hope to make that one in the next couple of months, but hopefully by the end of March I'll have the Toriyama profile video out. And that's how I want to hopefully celebrate his life and thank him for everything he gave to me personally, by celebrating his life, by making these videos, looking back at his works and looking at things that expand on his work. So look forward to those. I don't want to give any specific date for either of those, of course, especially not the latter one, but I do want to get those out sometime in the near future, and his passing is the kick in the pants that I needed to kind of tell me you need to get on that. But so thank you again everyone for watching. I'll see you all in the next video, and I'll see you all on those videos when I do put them out. Peace out.